Hello, my name is Kaitlyn Smith. I'm the 4-H Program Educator for Cornell Cooperative Extension in Sullivan County. Today I'm going to show you how to use the FairEntry system and how to enroll animal entries into our online system. So first we're going to go to the FairEntry website, and you should have already received how to activate your login information from the CCE office. If you have not, please contact a 4-H staff member. And you'll see that there are two profiles under this email address. If there are multiple youth that are associated with your email address, you'll see their names come up here, so you can enroll the animal entries they have under their names. So we're going to go ahead and start our entries. So you'll see that once you click add an entry, the Fair Book pulls up, and the Fair Book numbers, the departments and sections are still the same as they always have been, so you can still use the hard copy Fair Book for reference. So basically what we're going to do today is give an example of each species, how to do their entry system. So we're going to start with poultry. And for Sullivan County 4-Hers, we require that you do a showmanship for every species that you enter. So please don't forget to enroll yourself in the showmanship competition. So you'll see that after my department, I clicked showmanship, and then my classes will pull up, and I can click whatever class I need to be in for showmanship. If I do make a mistake and I accidentally click the wrong class and I realize that I moved up to a senior showman this year, all you have to do is click this change button. It'll bring you back to your classes, and then you can adjust it from there. So this all looks good now, so I hit continue. And it will ask you for your club when you enter, every time you make an entry. But since your profile is associated with 4-H Online, your only club options will be the ones that you're enrolled in. So now I did my club and everything looks good, so I can either add another entry or register another exhibitor. But since I'm not done adding entries to my profile yet, I'm going to go back to this. It'll pull up the last section and department that you were just at. So if I needed to enroll another poultry entry, I can pull the poultry section specifically back up. And now I'm going to enter my actual chicken in its breed class now. And you'll notice that all of the chicken classes, duck, trios, geese, turkeys, and the cloverbud showmanship is in this section. So I'm going to enter my chicken. When I choose which class she's supposed to be in and hit continue and type in my club, it's going to ask me to add an animal profile to it. So this is where I'm going to put my chicken's information, and she is a breeding poultry because she's Americana. If it was a market poultry, I would select this option. So it's going to ask me for her name, because that is what we use to identify chickens. And I'll hit create an animal, and her information shows up right here, and I can double check that my department, section, and class is still correct. So if that all looks good, I hit continue, and then it'll take me again to either register an exhibitor or add another entry. So the next animal that we're gonna enter is the rabbit and kiwi department. Again, don't forget to do your showmanships. I'm gonna move on to a breed class now. So I'm gonna enter, I have a fancy rabbit, my breed is a fancy breed, so I'm gonna enter section C. And all of our available classes for fancy rabbits are here in alphabetical order. So I'm going to enter my Nellendorf Black Junior Doe. This time, because I'm entering a rabbit, a breeding rabbit, it's going to ask me for a little different information than it asks for a chicken. So it's going to ask me for a tattoo number because we require a permanent tattoo in the left ear of a rabbit. And it's also going to ask me her name. Her information will show up in the middle of the screen. And she's all done. You'll notice that here, if your entry is complete and you didn't miss any steps or informations that the system needs to enter the animal, this continue to payment button will be green and it says everything looks good. If you did miss a step, this will be blue and it'll ask you to check on one of your entries. Okay, so now we're going to go to the dairy department. And again, your showmanship class, please remember to enter in that. But I'm going to go to the breed class now. Again, this has all of our classes available, and I have a Jersey cow, so I'm going to scroll down to a 3-year-old Jersey cow. Again, I need to enter my cow's information first. The only option I'll have is dairy cattle, and it'll pull up specific information it wants for this area. So, ask for my cow's name, her date of birth, and this is to make sure that she is, in fact, entered in the correct class for her age. And then a tag number. I'm going to enter another Jersey cow, and this time I'm going to enter her calf. Now we're going to enter the calf's information in. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to enter both of them in dam and daughter competition. So they'll both be showing in this class. Now when I hit dam and daughter and I go to continue, you'll see that it looks a little different than entering in a breed class. I have these slots here because you can enter multiple dam and daughters. So if I also had her grandmother or her great-grandmother, I can have all 4 of those cows in the ring. And since I already created a profile for my cow and my calf, I can hit choose an existing animal record and it'll pull up all the ones that are applicable. So I can double check to make sure this is the cow that I want to select, hit select animal, and it'll put all of her information into this class, so I don't need to redo it. And there's her calf. And once I have my 2 cows selected that are going to be in this class, I can hit continue and everything is good. So you don't have to repeat animal information if they're showing in multiple classes. The next animal we are going to do is a beef cow. Okay, and this one I'm going to enter in the breed class. If you enter in the market class, this will be your steers with the weight distributions. But I would like to enter my calf in her breed class. So she's going to be a senior calf. and it's going to ask me for the beef specific information that it needs. Okay, so now I entered all of the animals for this profile. So now I'm going to go back and switch profiles and enter the second use animal. This one looks a little different than how it will look because the emails are associated with the 4-H online. So you should just be able to hit register another exhibitor and it'll pull up the other use names that way. So I'm going to go to the second profile here and add an entry. And in this section, the next one we're going to do is a goat. So I'm going to do a meat goat. Meat goat is different than market goat. Meat goat is the breed classes for meat type goats, and a market goat is for the actual market classes. So you'll see that these are more breed specific classes as opposed to the market classes. So I have a doe kid. It's going to ask me the goat specific information. Okay. Now the next thing we're going to do in this goat section, you might have noticed down here at the bottom of each different department, you'll see backup animal. So it'll be backup beef, backup rabbit. And this is simply a class that you can enter in case something happens to your first string of animals that you would like to show. So if all of a sudden my goat Abby came up lame and I couldn't take her to the fair, if I enter in another goat in this backup goat animal class, then I can just simply swap the Abby animal for my backup animal. This will ask for some slightly different information. You'll see you have the option of pet goat, breeding goat, or market goat. And I'm going to replace her with another breeding goat if necessary. So this is my goat's information, and then because it's a backup animal as well, it's going to require that I specify the department, the section, and the class, so that if I do need to switch it, we already have that information and the 4-H office can switch that easily. Okay. So the next species we're going to enter is sheep. Sheep information is pretty similar to goats, except that it also asks for some flock identification. it'll ask me for the breed and your scrapie flock ID, which you should be able to get off of your scrapies tag, as well as if the animal has an additional tag number in your flock. Okay. Next department we're going to enter is swine. And I'm going to enter 2 different types of pigs into the swine class. First, I'm going to have a breeding gilt. Then the next pig I'm going to enter is going to be in the market class. So you can see it's going to ask for a different drop down here than my first pig that I entered. Now I also want to enter my market pig into our livestock auction, which is Department 29. So when I go to enter him into the auction, the only animals that I will have the option of entering are going to be anything that was entered under the market section. So you'll see that I have the option of entering Max, who is my Duroc market animal, but my breeding pigs information, Tammy, is not on here. So I can only enter my market class animal into the auction. And that is the same for chickens or beef or rabbit trio. The only time that you will have those records available to enter them into the livestock auction is if they are also already entered into their appropriate market class. Okay, so the last entry that we're going to do, or second to last entry we're going to do actually, is our horse. So the first thing that you'll need to enter for horses is this raw ring and stall section. And this is where we're going to get the horses information from. There's only one class available. It's going to ask for some information about your horse. And if my horse already had his Coggins test and his rabies vaccination done, I could put in the date that I had those done. But if for some reason he had his Coggins test done, but I forgot to get his rabies vaccination up to date, so I don't have that one, I can enter them or not enter them, and it'll still accept his entry. But if you do not provide this information beforehand, you need to make sure that you give the paper copy of the Coggins test as well as the rabies vaccination to the 4-H office. at the appropriate time those records are due. So I did my horse's information, and now I'm going to enter into my show, either the qualifying show or the fun show, or both. And I also have the option of a backup horse. So again, if my horse comes up lame that week and I need to use my backup horse, I can make that switch through the 4-H office. But they need to be enrolled at the same time that all of your other animals are enrolled. So that deadline again is June 1st of every year. So now I'm going to enter him in the qualifying show, and because horses typically enter multiple classes, this is going to look a little different. I'll need to select my horse here on the side of which horse I'm going to use, and then it will allow me to click any of these classes that I would need to do that's appropriate for him. So I'm just going to select some of my classes here. And under this, you can click as many as you need to. And then we can go back up here and hit continue. Don't forget to click which animal or which horse on the side here you need to use. Even if you just have one horse listed, you still need to make sure to highlight that. Okay, so when we hit continue, it's going to give, again, my horse here and the classes that I clicked on to make sure everything is okay. If I need to change something, I can simply hit cancel, and it will bring me back to the class page. If everything looks good, I can hit create an entry, and it will show all of the classes that my horse is entered in. So the very last entry we're going to do is Alpaca. And again, don't forget to sign up for Showmanship for your classes. So we're going to enter the Alpaca in the halter class. Alpacas, some showers prefer a microchip, which is a fairly new way of identifying the animal, or a tag. Either one of those works. Some have both. Some only have a microchip because they don't like the way a tag looks when they're in the show ring, or some just prefer a tag as opposed to a microchip. Either way, they both, or one of them, needs to just be consistent with the health paperwork when you come to the fair. So my alpaca happens to have both forms of identification. Okay, so now that I have entered both youth's animals that are associated under this email, I can then hit continue to payment. If I only entered one youth's animal entries and then tried to go to payment, what would happen is after I accepted everything and finished, the system is going to temporarily lock the account out, so I would not be able to go back in and enter the other youth's entries afterwards. This is because it gives the 4-H staff an opportunity to look over the entries, and if there's missing information or if an animal was accidentally entered in the wrong age category, the staff have the option to send the entry back to the participant to correct it. So that's why it's important to make sure that you do both or all of the youth associated with the email address, do all of their entries, and then continue to payment. And you can see that it's keeping track of my payment up here for me, of my classes that have a cost associated with it. It also breaks it down for each individual, how much is devoted to that profile. And if you hit detail, it'll show you exactly how much each class is as well. There are some classes that do not have fees associated with them, and you can see that on your record. So if I were to hit continue, it'll give me the options of payment, and the payment options are the same as they have always been. You can send in a check, drop off cash, or call in a credit card to the Cornell office. And we're also looking into making it available to pay online. So I'm not going to click that because I don't want to lock myself out of my profile. But that is the way that you finish up the enrollments. And just as a reminder, if you don't want to scroll through all of the various classes, as some of them are pretty large, such as the rabbits, to find the class, you can still go online and look at the FAIR book and have all your classes wrote down first, and then you can go into the system and do them that way because they are the same. And if you have any questions or problems with the system, just be sure to contact the office and ask for one of the 4-H staff members. And that concludes our tutorial on our new FairEntry system. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at bit.ly.com/CCE Sullivan.